Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Not Just a Revenue. How the bloody hell have you been? How have you been? This week, I want to ruffle some feathers. I mean, what's new? But I was really active on Threads yesterday, which is weird for me for a Sunday because obviously got a kiddo, usually out doing things. But yesterday was a really chill day, and yeah, I just ended up finding myself on Threads quite a lot, which is fine. I love it. But there were some really good conversations going on. And one of the ones I got involved with was around whether, so the question was, does someone having a Gmail email address for their business change your opinion of them and their business? Now, this question comes up every now and again in the online space. It's definitely not the first time that I've had an opinion on it, and I'm sure it will not be the last. But this is my take, and then kind of, going through some other things on that. So, in my opinion, yes, having a Gmail email address for your business, it changes my perception of you and your business massively. And this is my reasoning for that. Getting a domain is really cheap. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, out of all the things you'll pay for in order to get your business set up, having a domain, one of the cheaper things you can have. Really simple to set up. There's 1,000,000,001 kind of free resources out there. Loads of people have done this themselves. And so it's cheap and easy to do. You can even get someone else to do it for you. So, what does that tell me if you are choosing not to do that? What it tells me is that you are not willing to take your business seriously. And if you are not willing to take your business seriously, why the hell should I? So that is what I want to talk to you about today. It's about treating your business like a business. And this is something that actually does come up a lot of the time. And I think maybe people are too afraid to speak on it, but here I am, because ultimately I'm not afraid of offending you if it means you take action and improve your business. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I don't really care if I ruffle some feathers, okay? I don't care. So, said with love, I want you to treat your business like a business. And what I mean by that is, and I do this myself, right? And I caught myself in this recently, this kind of like past weekend. I don't know why I kept thinking about this before I even saw these conversations on Threads, is there are so many things that fly in the online space that would not fly in real businesses. Okay. And I think about businesses, and I will walk around town. I see the independent businesses and I see these small businesses, and I know that many of them are doing multiple six figures, right? They have staff. They're doing multiple six figures, okay, in revenue, in sales, not necessarily in profit, but I know like these businesses are making money. And yet in the online space, there seems to be lots of people who not necessarily struggling, but people that aren't making that kind of money. We all kind of follow and flock to the ones in the space that are making the kind of money we want. And the reflection that I have been having is, okay, what do these quote unquote real businesses, the fact that I even see them as real businesses says so much, but what do they have that my business doesn't? And I think about it, it's like, okay, they have a unique skill, service, or offer on value to offer someone that solves a problem for them. But I'm like, will I do that? And it's like, well, yes, but how can I position it in a way that makes it a non-negotiable? You know, how can I position myself as the 10K consultant? When I say 10K, I mean like I can literally just go into a business and be like, hey, I can help you with your business. I can help you grow your revenue. I can help you take home more money. I can help you be more profitable. Like if I was to take that to a multi-six-figure business, that is easily worth 5 figures, that service. And yet here I am in the online space doing exactly that and charging pittance and basically being like, please please ban my offer, please ban my offer, please ban my offer. So I'm calling myself the fuck out here, okay? I'm not just calling out other people, I'm calling myself the fuck out as well. We've become conditioned within the online space to think that sometimes how we're running things is normal, or like that is what business is, and I don't necessarily think that it is. So the kind of reframe I want for you is, and I think this is why you hear about this a lot, right? Is people being like, oh, their family member asked them how their little business is doing. And that's because we are treating them like little businesses. We are out here being offended, like, oh, how dare you call my little business little business? Well, babe, it is a little business. It is a little business. It's still a business, but it is a little business. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Okay? It is a little business. And do you know how I know it's a little business? You're treating it like a little business. Okay? You're treating it like a little business. And what I mean by that is, maybe you do have the Gmail email address. Maybe you do have a very basic website. Maybe you don't even have a website. Maybe you have a website on something like Kartra, Podia, Wix, where you have like the subdomain like dot. Maybe you have, you don't have professional branding. You have some things that you put together in Canva, doesn't look professional, or you've used AI. And now I know I can hear you, because I can hear myself saying it's like, well, there's plenty of businesses in real life. We're talking about these kind of like proper, quote unquote, proper businesses that do all of these things as well. And yes, they do. But you know what? They're also making a hell of a lot more money. So how can we start treating our business like the kind of business that makes hella money? And so part of this, like most of this actually, is a mindset shift, okay? Almost all of this is a mindset shift. How can you start treating your business like a business, okay? Obviously, the first thing you need to do is pull your head out of the sand and actually look at your damn numbers, okay? They're not scary. Ask me how I know. They're not scary. And I know that because I've worked with hundreds of business owners at this point with their numbers. And every time we do it, they're like, oh, it wasn't actually that bad. The fear of the unknown is a bigger emotion. It feels bigger than the actual, like, what the numbers will be telling you. Okay. So at least when you know what the numbers are telling you, you can do something about it. Okay. So that's the first thing you're going to do is get your head out of the sand, right? You're actually going to look at the numbers. You have to. You cannot be running a business and not looking at the numbers. I'm sorry, you don't have a business. It's not a business. If you don't want to open your bank account, if you don't have a cash flow tracker, babe, what are you doing? You're playing a game. You're playing a game, right? You have a hobby. And this is where I want to call people out, because I want you to think about this mindset shift seriously, because I want you to have hella successful businesses. But in order to do that, you need to have this shift around what is your business and who is it there to serve, okay? Yes, okay, you might have, I'm all for this, right? I started my business and I'm quite happy taking home like a small amount of money. I'm quite happy living in my little pre-6-figure world, okay? I'm quite happy. But even I can, let's say I've had an out-of-body experience and I'm looking at myself, right? Even I know, girl, that's playing small. That is playing small. And of course, you're only ever going to have a small business if you're playing small. That's just how it works, right? It isn't until you start expanding and you start thinking, how can I have the multi-6-figure business? Like, how can my business hit 1 million, right? It's not necessarily that I want or need those things, but there's also nothing wrong with wanting or needing those things. And actually, by changing your thinking to being more around, okay, but how can I? You will start to see better results. Because when your goal, let's say you have a one-to-one offer, a one-to-one service, and you've told yourself, I don't want an agency, I don't want a team, I don't want this, I want to keep things nice and simple. I just want it to be me, myself, and I. And so you're looking at your capacity, you're like, right, I can have 10 clients, and let's say you've got your 10 clients. Now what? I'm like, but Emily, but I'm quite happy. Okay. You could be happier. You could have more money if you're working less hours. Okay. That's entirely possible. But here we are, playing it small. Because that feels safer, that feels doable, that feels manageable. Stretching ourselves, stretching our capacity, having a big business feels scary because it's unknown and because it feels like a lot of work, honestly. And I'll be my first to throw my hands up and be like, I'm a lazy gal. I am a lazy gal. The idea of a lot of work, no thank you. I've also been thinking about people that work quote unquote normal jobs and the fact that they, to leave the house by a certain time, to get into the office by a certain time or their place of work and then work these hours for someone else. And I'm like, ooh, it literally makes me recoil now that I've been out of that world for almost 4 years. I'm like, ooh, no, I know I wouldn't do that. But I'm thinking like, yeah, it's hard work. And here's me thinking that I can just sit at home and twiddle my thumbs. And obviously that's just what I'm doing. But like, I don't really have a structure to this podcast episode, as you could tell. I just wanted to kind of like throw this reframe out there. Do you know what? Here's something that I wrote down because part of my conversation yesterday was I had this conversation around if you're online and you're going, right, I've got, I have 5-figure months, I've got clients who are getting these amazing results, but you yourself don't have a website, you don't have professional branding, everything looks amateur. To me, it's giving smoke and mirrors. To me now, for me as well, as being in financial strategy, being in the revenue strategy side of things, I'm also like, this person doesn't know how to manage their money, which is fine. There's never any judgment there because a lot of people don't know how to manage their money. We've never learned how to manage our money. But the results that you're saying you're getting and how you are portraying yourself, how your business is being portrayed, it's giving smoke and mirrors. Okay? Why the hell would I believe that your business is that successful when your business does not look successful? And so it's not that I'm saying these people are lying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm thinking like, how do you want to be perceived? How do you want your business to be perceived? And hopefully from this little reframe and this mindset shift that I want you to have is, if you want people to take your business seriously, if you want people to spend hella money with your business, and then it makes it easier for you to sell, right? If you're aiming to sell 10 spots, well, guess what? You might sell 10 spots. It's going to be hard work, right? It's going to be hard graft to sell all those 10 spots because you've set 10 as your limit. If you want to sell 100 spots, you'll sell 10, no problem. So it's thinking about that. How can you expand your thinking and to kind of shoot for bigger goals and to stretch? And this is something that I know, again, myself. I've been playing small for the last year or so from a place of safety and like kind of wanting to feel safe with a goal and wanting to feel like I can hit it. But actually, I know that my income has reduced because I've started playing small. Whereas I know before when my business was doing well, it's because I had these big audacious goals. And so I need to go back and I need to find those big audacious goals. But I also need to start treating my business like the kind of business that hits those audacious goals, because then it'll hit those smaller goals, no fucking problem. Okay, and I can deal with the problems around business growth as and when they arrive. Okay, I don't need to be worrying. Like right now, my capacity is like 10 one-to-one clients. I do not need to be worrying about, well, what if I hit all 10 clients and people still want to work with me? That is not a problem I need to be thinking about now. Okay, I can sell as if I'm going to do that. I can sell as if I'm going to sell out all 10 spots and then some, but I don't need to be worrying about that now. Okay. Maybe when I get to 10 clients, I'll worry about it, because also when I get to 10 clients, I'll have the money to deal with it. I will have the cash flow to be able to let's now bring in a systems expert and have them help me. I don't need to worry myself. This is also like another semi-tangent. Welcome to an episode of my podcast if you're new here. We go on tangents. I've even just forgotten what the tangent was, going off on the tangent. Stand by. Be at the position which I can easily bring in someone who can help me with that, right? What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to be a small, a micro business owner. So if you go and look up what a small business actually is, you're probably not there. Let me actually do it right now. Definition of a small business UK. So fewer than 50 employees and annual turnover of up to 15 million. I'm going to guess you're not there. So right now, you're not even a small business, okay? We're a micro business. We're a teeny tiny little blip in the ocean of businesses, okay? Why the hell are you joining a content program, a marketing program? You've got a coach for this, a mentor for that. You do not have those problems right now, right? You do not have those problems right now, okay? The only thing you should be doing is selling. Only thing you should be doing is getting people to work with you, okay? Because then you will have those problems. Then you can go, how do I get more people to work with me? Okay, let's solve that problem. How do I increase my capacity so that I can work with more people? Okay, let's go and solve that problem. Solve one problem at a time. And also, if you focus on bringing in the money first, I know you'll be like, but Emily, all those things are so I can bring in the money. I'm like, yeah, but you don't need to spend you don't need to spend that much money to make that much money. Yes, okay, we need to spend money to make money. That is business. But when you're first starting to kind of get to that first level of consistent income, not really. You know, you hear of a lot of people bootstrapping and things like that. Like you'll be fine. I feel like I'm absolutely going off on one. So basically, deal with those problems as they arrive. Don't try and solve the problems before they've even arisen, right? Stop trying to preempt problems. Just sell your little heart out and then deal with the problems as they arrive, because then you just hire an expert, okay? Stop trying to become an expert in 20 different things in all areas of business. Just become an expert in your one thing. Hire other people to help you, okay? That's what spending money to make money is, right? You will need to bootstrap to get it started. But once you're there, that's how you spend money to make money. We've talked about how, obviously, like, do you have a hobby business? Are you actually treating your business like a business? If you aim small, you only ever hit small. You need to have these big audacious goals in order to kind of stretch your capacity and to stretch your thinking and to actually bring in those smaller goals in the first place. We've got how having this successful business, but no branding and no professionalism within your own business, and thinking about how you want to be perceived and whether or not your business might be giving a bit of smoke and mirrors, and how actually if you were to invest in the professional branding, seeing as you claim to be making so much money, will probably just help you make more money, because again, thinking about treating your business like a damn business and not a hobby. The final thing I wanted to talk about was someone raised this point yesterday on Threads, which was that they were working with someone. They came into this mastermind, and they were with someone who had 200,000 followers. And this person with 200,000 followers was making 8.5K a month. And they were saying, I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy with that. And I'm like, and me and this person were both kind of saying, well, just imagine with 200,000 followers, just imagine if your conversion rates were better. Just imagine if you focused for a second on anything above just getting by. Just like, oh, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy. I'm all for gratitude. But so I ran the numbers, because of course she did, right? If you have 200,000 followers on Instagram and you are making 8.5K a month, right? That is 40 pence. It's not, no, it's not. It's 4p. 4 pence per follower. So if every one of those followers spent money with you, they're only spending nothing. Absolutely nothing, especially in this day and age. Okay, let's do the other end. Let's say you have someone who has 5,000 followers, right? And they're making 10K months, right? Because they have just a better business model, higher conversion rates, these sorts of things, right? Well, now it's £2 per follower. Do you know what's mad as well? Is 5,000 followers with 10K months is, I would say you don't even need 5,000 followers to have 10K months, okay? But let's say, I'm just doing some round numbers for the maths. That's £2 per follower. That is much better than having 2,000 people who are only spending 4p with you. So what do you think? You're kind of reframing your things to think about after listening to this episode are, how do you want your business to be perceived? How are you treating your business like a small business. So like a business that can have up to 50 employees and make up to £15 million? Or are you treating it like a hobby that's maybe going to bring in a few £1,000s? And if so, why are you expecting your results to be any different than the work you're currently putting in? That was spicy. Yeah. So it's just those two things. Consider this my probably my spiciest episode yet. You're allowed to disagree with me. Of course you're allowed to disagree with me. This is me owning the fact that I need to do a lot of the work that I've mentioned in this episode, and kind of, part of it has come from me having my own reflections and how I'm treating my business. So I want you to take it as that. It's not me saying that you're doing anything wrong. It's me saying like, hey, what if we shifted our thinking around these things, and how might our business improve? Okay, how might we see our results improve if we shift our thinking around our business and how we are treating our business and how we are perceiving our business, but also how we want other people to perceive our business. This is something that I will be thinking on this week. If it's something that's maybe stirred something in you, let me know. And let me know if you think about it this week and you kind of come across anything like that. Obviously, if you want to be challenged in this way, if you want help to build this version of your business that does have up to 50 employees and make up to £15 million as a small business, you know where I am. I would love to help you, because this is what I love to do. This is how I love to help. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.